stream. I'm just doing some writing, so it's gonna be pretty quiet. as you can tell, probably it's pretty freaking quiet. But yeah, that's how it works sometimes. Anyways, I'll see if this works. So because my internet is interesting. Okay. I gotta love my internet. Yes. I don't know why these things are so complicated. Weird. Like how it just closed itself for no reason. Guess that is working how that works, yeah. Oddly enough. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully it works, but then again, I have no idea. It's always fun and interesting, I guess. Anyways. I'm trying to... I was gonna say be productive, but that's... no. That's not how this works. Let's see. Things do be really loud right now. Jeez.
So
I would say, but no. I had to mute it because it was about to be really loud. You know, as you do. I love when that happens. Anyways. I'm going to write, I guess. I've been working on this document for a little bit of a one shot. My voice is dying. It's called Flower Crown. But I might honestly rewrite the page I have here because, you know, it's just a page and it's not very good in my opinion so far, which is why I haven't finished it. So, we'll see what happens, I guess. I wanted to smile, be able to go back to the time when a smile was something brought to my face and not something forced onto my lips. It was one of those moments that I wanted to get rid of. I could hear the thoughts fogging up my mind, and did I care? Does that matter? At least I was able to be surrounded by all these flowers. Flowers are sometimes the closest thing I have to friends. I wanted to be able to connect to people, but they always say I'm too depressed or too emo, and it's annoying to them. Even my parents have the same reaction. But then again, they don't even really want me anyway. The flowers around me pulled me back to the moment, and I didn't feel sad from that memory anymore. It was just a secondary thought in my mind. Roses are my favorite flower, the flowers that those perfect couples will give to one another to show how much they care for them. My crap, I lost my place. It's because they are always the flowers that those perfect couples will give to one another to show how much they care for them. Sure, the flower dies a couple of days to a couple of weeks later, but the message is the same. Their love can be beautiful, like flowers, blooming over the years that they have known each other, and adding new colors and petals with every date. Those are things I crave. I'm almost 18, and I've never been kissed before. Haven't been in a relationship either. Haven't even ever had someone stick around long enough to know if they could have been that person. Maybe in this garden of people, there isn't a sunflower that will turn to face me instead of the sun. No one to be there when I want to dance later in the night under the moonlight. I don't know how to dance, but I know that won't matter if the person loves me enough to want to do things like that with me. I guess all of this longing builds up and makes me forget that there was a time when I wasn't so sad. But as time passes on, I wonder if that feeling will ever return to me. I have nothing else here for me. But I guess at least I have the roses. The roses remind me that love can be beautiful because of its petals, but also painful because of the thorns. The grammar here is not perfect, or even good, but so I just started writing, and this is what came out on the page, I guess. It means, okay, I was willing to see the beauty as well as the pain. If it means that once in my life I can give all of this love I've been saving to the person who loves me. Oh hey, I was confused, hearing a voice other than my own. It almost sounded like a younger person. I turned around to face the direction of the sound, and my assumptions were correct. There was another boy standing a good couple of meters away from me, in a smaller figure. He seemed to be smiling and waving over at me, trying to get my attention. I waved back to show him that I was listening. I don't need to have this, but what is this? Leads to a link, and I'm scared of what the link is. I mean, it's probably not a bad link, knowing I put the link there, but still concerning. Oh, to like a song or something. I left off. So I assumed that this song was the song that was inspiring me to write this. I assume so anyway. I'm not positive. I'm gonna see if this works. I don't know. So many freaking tabs open. As I always do. There's something else started playing and it scared me. Oh, there you go. I'm trying to see. Oh, it's I don't remember what this song sounds like, honestly. Oh, this was that one where I heard like a TikTok song and I was like, oh my gosh. I want to write something about this, and then I put this on a page and called it writing. So that was fun. I don't know why it does that. Anyways, to show him I was listening is where it leaves off, and then there was that link. Oh, that scared me. I wasn't ready for that. I thought my document erased everything, but no, it's all still there. I'm just being a little paranoid, you know? There's nothing wrong with being a little paranoid. I'm just gonna copy this link again and add it to the title instead of the last word, so I can find it easier. Forget how to add comments. Never mind, it's up at the top. Oh. Maybe I don't. No, oh no, never mind. It's in here. There's even keys you can hit to put said link there, but I just did. Okay, so I waved back to show him I was listening. So, the situation I placed Sui-chan, which is the perspective this one is set in. He is in, I believe, a rose garden, because it was mentioned that roses were his favorite flowers, and he was surrounded by flowers, but I don't know if what I was going for was there was different groups of flowers. Maybe I was thinking about Animal Crossing. I don't know. My Animal Crossing has quite a bit of flowers. Like, I remember, I sold all of the stuff I was, like, collecting. I was going to sell it anyway, but I sold it all at the same time. I got, like, 140,000 bells, right? And then I literally spent all of those bells on flowers. Which, I mean, I'm not like proud to admit that, but I made a pretty flower garden up on the higher levels of my island, so it's nice to go there sometimes, I guess. So he's in the flower field. I'm gonna go back a couple paragraphs to see if there's anything else. He seems to be kind of sulking, so he's probably looking pretty, like his shoulders are probably slumped and he's probably looking down. And then he turned around to see the other person, so what I'm thinking is, there's either like a rose patch in front of him or kind of around him in a way, I guess, but I don't think it's completely surrounding him. So when he looked over at Kokichi sees Suichi standing in front of all of these. Okay, I got it. I think, to show him I was listening. Jeez, my brain is so slow today. the heck? I'm like trying to piece my brain back together, but it's just not working today. I swear I know how to make my brain function, but it is not working today. I'm trying to we've got okay, so okay, I was confused hearing a voice other than my own. It sounded like, take the almost out. It sounded like, instead of it sounded almost like, it could also be it almost sounded like, if I want to keep the almost in there. Or I could just say it sounded like a younger person, which honestly, getting straight to the point is good sometimes. I turned around to face the direction of the sound, and my assumptions were correct. Okay. So yeah, again with the turning around kind of thing. Okay. There was another boy standing a good couple meters away from me, so he's not super far, but he's kind of far. Like, he'd probably be able to tell like his features, but not like a lot of added detail, I guess. Like the sentence after says he has purple hair and a small figure, so you can see his hair and knows it's purple, so he's close-ish. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, because if he was closer, I would have mentioned, like, the outfit he was wearing, or maybe even, like, his eye color, which is also purple. Okay, to show him I was listening. I don't really know where to take it from here. To show him I was listening. No. This always happens. I try to write something and then like I write the first letter and I'm like, nope. Try again. I don't want to start with like he, but I need to describe something he's doing. The person standing a little ways away from me. Took that as an invitation. That's the word I was looking for. To come over. To come closer to me. The person standing a little ways away from me took that as an invitation to come closer. Maybe even just say come closer. Do I want him to say anything? Good question. Well, that person standing a little ways away from me took that as an invitation to come closer. Is it kind of in an I perspective, or is it in more of a... Yeah, he said I was confused, so I can say I statements. Because it's in first person. I felt... What's something, like... I'm trying to imagine this situation. So he's standing there, he looks over at this other person who's trying to get his attention, which I assume from the prior paragraphs that before then he wasn't really expecting anyone else to be there. So I'm assuming this isn't like place that's more, I don't know, people visit often, I guess. Or maybe it's a later time in the day. I don't remember what I was imagining in this moment, which I wish a quick sketch or something, because that would have helped a little bit. But I didn't, because I don't do that for myself sometimes. That's okay. Sorry, I swear my voice isn't usually like this raspy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to describe what my voice sounds like right now, but you know, it's not great. Anyway, I felt a what? I'm trying to describe like a nervous feeling, but I don't know how I want to describe it. Because if I've got it acknowledged by somebody else, my first reaction would be to be a little intimidated. I don't know if that's a good word to use, but like frightened, slightly, mildly frightened. I'd look over at the other person and I'd be like, oh, they're calling over to me, and I give them some sign like a nod or whatever to indicate that I'm listening. And then the other person would either like walk towards me or just kind of walk in the other direction. Just be like, oh, she heard what I said, and I'm like, all right, moving on. I felt, I don't think a shiver would be a good way to describe it either. I'm trying to think of a word. I know a lot of words, but geez, what emotion he's feeling. I want to show what emotion he's feeling instead. Okay. So put yourself in this situation. You are basically vibing by yourself. And then you, the aura of your vibe is cut short when somebody else tries to interject by saying, what does he even say? By saying, oh, hey. I mean, I'd feel a little confused because that's just my reaction to basically anything when somebody acknowledges me. Because it doesn't happen very often, to be honest. So yes, you're minding your own business, basically. Looking at flowers, and then somebody cuts you out of that. So maybe, well, I already mentioned he was confused, though. How do I say this? Yeah, I know how to spell, I swear. I just have to open my dictionary to remember how to spell. Remember how to spell. Yep, I'm going with that. Confused. I mean, I know how to spell confused, but baffled is a good word. But I don't think that would work in this the sentence I'm trying to write. Dazed. Dazed would also be, but okay. I think I have an idea of how to write this sentence. I could say, the person standing a little ways away from me took that or this. Do I want to say that or this? Well, let's read it with both. The person standing a little ways away from me as an invitation to come closer. Or standing a little ways away from me took this as an invitation. I think this sounds more inviting, I guess. I don't know if that makes a big difference to other people, but it makes a difference to me. Okay, snapping out of my daze, I realized that I would soon have to have a conversation with this person who I have never met before. No, who I don't know. Who I have who I don't know. Or maybe do not. No, that sounds too formal. Don't know works for this. Conversation with a person who I do not. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the song I'm basing this off of it's based on a TikTok I friggin' saw on my feed because I rarely ever open TikTok. Yep. TikTok. And, okay. I hate all men, but when he loves me, I feel like I'm floating. When he calls me, I feel like somebody. Even when we fade eventually to nothing, you will always be my favorite form of loving. I have no idea where I was going with this, but eventually I'm gonna go off on a tangent, and I'm hoping for that to start soon. Because how my brain works is I start writing something, right? And then, like, 2 seconds in, or like 2 sentences in, or however long in, like, my brain will just kind of like autopilot. It's like, oh, okay, you had this, it was a great idea. Now you're going down this direction with said idea. For example, Nightmares. That story, I wrote out a plot outline for it. And I planned for it to be, like, funny enough, it was only supposed to be 60 parts. That's what I was planning on writing, and I, like, wrote out which each individual part was going to do. But as I mentioned before, sometimes when most of the time when I'm writing, whatever idea I had, like, originally started out with, goes completely out the window, as my brain is like, oh, but there's all these other options you could do with the plot, and then I'm like, okay. Like, originally it was supposed to end a lot quicker, and there wasn't supposed to be as much added detail at the end, or even before they had to, like, escape the school, but, my brain was like, nope, we're adding this to the plot outline, and then this to the plot outline, and then we're deleting this, and I'm like, okay. Like, I try to do things, and you just make it so complicated to stick to a list. Which is why I think, most of the teachers I have, when I explain things like that to them, they're like, you're so disorganized while still being organized most of the time. Eternal argument with myself on which side I want to fall on. Horrible. Completely terrible, but it works out in the end, I guess. Anyways, we've got, trying to think more words. Okay, anyway. Snapping out of my daze, I realized that I would soon have to engage in a conversation. I love that I think of words when I'm reading things, and I'm like, you know what? It would have sounded so much better if this word was there instead. That's why I can't read books normally either. Like, I start reading, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read this book and enjoy it, but then 2 seconds in, I'm like, okay, this could have been better, this sentence sounds better if you put this word in here. So I just become like, I'm reading it like I'm editing it instead of actually reading it for enjoyment. So, yeah, it's hard for me to read books. It's kind of the same thing with, like, watching TV, I guess. I, haven't actually sat down and watched a TV show in, like, months, but that's mostly because, like, whenever I have free time, which is not that often, because of school and work, but whenever I do have free time, I'm always like doing writing or drawing because my brain dislikes the idea of sitting down and watching a TV show and being quote unquote unproductive, even though I don't really see it as an unproductive thing. Because whenever I watch TV, it's giving me new ideas, new ways to form sentences, new ways to add more dialogue while adding description. So kind of like research in a way. But, stuff happens. Anyways, I would have to engage in a conversation with this person who I don't know. Yeah, okay. So Kokichi's walking over while Suichi's just kind of having this internal debate with himself. Okay. Stepping out of my daze, I realized that I would soon have to engage in a conversation with this person who I do not know. I don't know how I want to start this next sentence. Again, internal conflict, but it'll be gone soon, hopefully. Let's see, with this person who I do not know. Think I'm pretty, really, that's so silly. Okay, I do like the word silly. People don't use it as much, but when I was a kid, I was called so silly. I was like, oh. But no, people don't use that word anymore. They use weird, or I don't know, crazy. Weird and crazy are the words they swapped out for. What to say about that one, boss? Snapping out of. Okay. I've read this sentence like 7 times. Calm down. Just write another sentence. It doesn't have to be good. Just write another. Just write another sentence. I couldn't remember the last time I actually held a conversation with someone. It's almost odd. Put into a situation where I am going to have a conversation with someone. I didn't know anyone else would be here, but it's nice to be able to see another person here. The person said now standing right in front of me. I tried to give him them. I'm gonna say them, because technically I haven't mentioned this person's gender, and I don't want to do that to myself. I just like when people assume other people's gender. I don't know why it irks me so much, but it's not exactly something I like seeing. Because where I live, people identify other people first by their gender, which is something I stopped doing when I kind of realized that's what the people around me were doing, and I didn't like it. When I had, like, for example, if I had to, like, point out one of my friends in, like, a large crowd of people, I always describe like what they're wearing or what their hair looks like. I don't usually try to say like she or him or even they. Like I say my friend because that's their relation to me instead of saying like, I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of assuming information. Like I was in a GSA. I am in a GSA club with my friend Matto, and he is transgender. So I first knew him as oh jeez, I can't even remember his name. Well, his name on his birth certificate, I guess. I think it was Sandy or something like that. Yeah, we'll go with Sandy. So Matt used to, when I first met Matt, I knew him as Sandy. And then when I joined the GSA, like when we went in there, like they asked for our pronouns, and that wasn't really something like I thought about a lot before. Like I wasn't like, oh, like I get to decide what pronouns I go by. Not just that on my birth certificate it says my sex is female, that I have to go by she, her. Situations I dislike being put in the female category, especially where I live, because men always assume things about women, mostly patronizing them. Like it's kind of the same thing with my age too. Like I don't really like bringing up my age in conversations either, because when people first like get to know me, like I sound and act a lot older than I actually, well, than my age group does, I guess. And I can process things on a higher level than people my age group as well. So it kind of like off puts me from the norm, I guess. But yeah, like I wouldn't say like I dislike being known as a female. Like I'm not saying I want to be trans and be like a dude. A dude. But some days I assumed that I wanted to be put in the female category. But people do it anyways, because stereotypes are important, I guess, to society. I just like that that's kind of like an unspoken rule, but people always make interesting decisions. So yeah. Don't really know what to say about that one, but anyway. The person, that's why I keep addressing Kokichi as the person, because I really try to not be like he, they, she, like very descriptive things unless the person like mentions it, or if I can address them by their name, usually. But like I see that as something that should be more important in like I guess addressing people you don't know. Like if you don't know them, like you can't just assume that. Which is another reason why when I meet people I ask usually for their preferred name, like what they want to be called, and their pronouns, because I want to make sure that I don't get it wrong. Because I'd feel very embarrassed if I get it wrong and I'm like, I think I just offended them. I didn't mean to say that. But I tried to give them the indication that, oh, I was going to say give them a smile, but then I got on a sidetrack, so I forgot. I tried to give them a small smile, showing that I was happy to be here, as well as showing how content I was with being here. Yeah. I guess I didn't expect anyone to come here either. Because usually it's just me. I didn't expect anyone to come to I'm gonna call it the Rose Garden. Maybe I mentioned that before, but I don't know. We're changing where he is because I don't know what I was thinking before, so I can't like go back in time and say like, hey dude, what the frick is going on in your head right now? Because in all honest opinion, I think that would shock myself and I'd have a heart attack and die. But we're gonna put him in a rose garden that I always wanted to go to when I was a child. I don't remember what specific rose garden it was. All I remember is that my friend lived very close to it, and I went to it probably like once with said friend. But they like whenever they went there, like nobody was there because it wasn't a very well-known place, which is probably why I can't remember the name. But it was so peaceful. Kind of gave me the same vibe of like where I live. Like there's a lot of graveyards by me. Like all of them are within like 10 minutes. I think there's like 3 within 10 minutes of my house, which is kind of creepy, but you know. The only reason I like going to them is because it's usually quieter. Brings this, I wouldn't even say spirit, like in that moment, everything's still and quiet. And it's just like a really peaceful feeling. But if anybody sees me there, because I wear basically all black and fairly dark makeup, they're just like, oh, she's emo and she comes here because she's emo. And I'm like, no. I know. Because, funny story, whenever somebody has to sit next to me, like in class or something, like the teacher, or even like, my own mother, she'll get confused. And a little concerned when she has to like introduce me to new people because she'll be like, oh, because whenever I get like pointed out in a crowd, like I mentioned, like whenever my teachers have to tell someone they're sitting next to me, like they'll usually mention like either the girl wearing all black or the emo chick in the back. Because they usually sit me in the back of the classroom or in the front of the classroom. I've never been sat in the middle of a classroom. I don't know what it is, but it really depends on who I'm sitting next to, I guess, at the beginning of the school year. Because with some people I talk more, some people I talk less. Really just depends on first impressions and things like that. Like if I feel more comfortable talking to them, then yes, I will talk to them. But yeah, it doesn't happen very often. It may also be because sometimes when I'm either randomly like in social situations and things like that, my brain will randomly like come up with something and it'll make me say it before I even like have time to process what it was. They're usually random things like remember one time in biology, like we were talking about trees or something. I can't remember. And then like my brain said something really stupid. I can't even remember what it was. But just it'll do things like that, like in the middle of class or whatever. Usually I'm able to make it quiet enough where the teacher can't hear it. But there have been a couple instances where like the person next to me will hear it, or even the teacher will hear it sometimes. Most of the time they will laugh at my little blurb of things. But sometimes they will get fairly irritated by that, so it's always fun, I guess. But yeah, my brain's just really random. I think that's why I'm a fairly good storyteller, because whenever I'm either telling like a story about like something that happened to me, like I'm very expressive with my hands. I don't have my face cam on because I don't like how my face looks, but when I'm talking, I'm very expressive with my hands. Like I talk with my hands. So it kind of makes like whatever story I'm telling more interactive, if that makes sense. I've had a couple people who are like, I like when you tell stories because you just make it sound so interesting and you like get me really involved with it. Even if it's something, super random. I'm like, yep. That's why I'm a storyteller, homie, because yeah, I don't really know what to say about that one, boss. Anyways, sorry, my bracelets make a lot of noise. I wear a lot of bracelets, but it's mostly just because I don't like seeing my arms without bracelets on them, if that makes sense. Anyway, come to the Rose Garden. It's a place that many people stay away from. Not because it's a horrible place to be, but more because it's not exactly fun and exciting for most. Same here. It's hard to like if I just read this whole thing in like a reading tone of voice, like it's hard to tell like the difference between thoughts and talking. So usually like after I write the sentence, I'll be like, yeah, I should probably mention that this person already said that. So then this next thing is kind of like already indicated to be a thought. Sometimes. I mean, sometimes that doesn't work, but So before all of that stuff I said, because Suichi says to Kokichi, yeah, I guess I didn't expect anyone to come here either, because usually it's just me. So I'm going to say, I said before, my mind wandered. And then I have I didn't expect anyone to come to the Rose Garden. It's a place that many people stay away from. Not because it's a horrible place to be, but because it's not exactly fun and exciting for most. And then Kokichi says, same here. I like how quiet it can be. It helps me focus. He looked, well, me having an internal panic because I'm like, should I say he, they, huh? That's why I usually say, I'll actually say the stranger, so I'm not saying the person the whole time, because there's a lot of different ways you can indicate a character without assigning them any gender roles or any pronouns. You can say the person, the stranger. Shoot, there was another one. I can't remember it at the moment, but if I remember it, I will say it. I like how quiet it can be. It helps me focus, which is something I agree with. I don't know what it is, but like, whenever I'm feeling like super stressed with assignments, usually the first thing I will try to avoid is my phone. So I'll like power off my phone and put it in the corner of my room and be like, no, no. Because my brain doesn't like having like notifications coming up all the time because it makes me panic a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Because my brain's kind of already doing that anyway. Like, anytime there's not, like, I'm not doing something or I'm not like actively like working with my brain, I think my brain panics and it tries to get me back into that mode. So I can't just like sit on the couch and do nothing, because anytime I do that, my brain's like, hey, you're feeling groggy, you should go do something, get up, go run, go whatever. I don't run very often, but you know, I work out every day, so that's something. Which, funny story about that too is I've been working out every day for I think almost 2 years now. But anytime like I wear like a short sleeve shirt in the summer or something, like my siblings will look at me and they're like, "Wait, you have muscle?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I work out every day. I thought that would be implied." But I mean, I still think it's weird that I have muscle in my arms and my, torso. I'm like, what the heck happened? And I was like, oh wait, you work out every day. I guess muscle building comes with that. But anyway. I can't say his name because he hasn't introduced himself yet. So we have to context. The stranger, where is he standing actually? I mentioned where he was standing, but I don't remember. The person said now standing right in front of me. Okay. So I don't know what right in front of me means. I know I wrote it like two minutes ago. But right in front of me for me is like barely touching my personal space bubble. If they're like right up in my face, then they're right up in my face. Right in front of me would probably be like in front of me, but like a step or two back. Because if they were like directly in front of me, like our noses were touching kind of right in front of me, that would scare me, and I'd be like, nope, I'm leaving, bye. And then never come back. The stranger looked over to the side looked over to the side. A breeze of wind came between us, almost as if it was cutting through the silence. Oddly enough, it did this by causing a brief silence. I know how to spell silence, I swear. I know how to spell brief too, look at me. I used to be really bad at spelling in elementary school, like all of my spelling tests. Ooh, it was bad. Like, yeah. Once I started writing, though, like, words became easier to spell in most cases. I still forget how to spell surprise sometimes. I always put a Z, or, like, forget one of the R's or something. I don't know. By causing a brief silence. I looked over at them, or the how to address, let's see, the person, the stranger, the individual. I feel like that sounds like I'm writing like a English paper though. I don't want to be like writing an English paper. Cause no, basically. So yes. I looked over at the, I don't want to put the individual. I don't. Okay. I used the person twice. I used the stranger once. But this is literally the next sentence after the stranger. So I don't know what I'm gonna use. I'll just put the person for now as like a filler word. I can fix it later. Yes, I'll fix it later, probably. Maybe. Hopefully. Okay. I looked over at the it says table when there is no table. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I looked over at the person, yeah, because I'm using a filler word. I looked over at the person and saw he must have been feeling the same feeling maybe the same emotion that was going through my mind. Hello, welcome back. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is not very good either. It's a little, interesting. It's mostly just because, it can be pretty on and off sometimes, but I mean. But hello, welcome to me trying to write stuff. Yay. The little case, yay. Yes. He must have been feeling, I lost my train of thought. I have to, like, find it. Oh, never mind. I just found it. I looked down one, and it was like, I'm here. And I'm like, oh, hello. Welcome to here. Okay. He must have been feeling the same emotion that was going through my mind. The stillness, the quiet, the quiet, the calm. The world is an ocean. Everyone has their own waters. Whether they are rocky and stormy, or calm and I don't want to say warm. Calm and comforting. That's what I was looking for. The more you fall into the world, the more the waters can consume you. The more you fall into the world, the more the waters can consume you, making you and your thoughts and your joy leaving and bitter water around you. These things always remind me that other people can feel these deep and almost intimate emotions, the ones you can feel grow in your chest, making you feel flustered, or maybe even warm. Warm in such a way that it's able to envelop you, to protect you from things that may be trying to harm you. But here in this moment, I'm here with this person. We may not know each other, but we have an understanding that we are both going through our own waters. And that was enough. That was enough to feel comforted. Like this person was one of my oldest friends. Even though we'd never met before. Mm. Flowers can hold the things we can't even show. Maybe wilted feelings that have been lost to the known, but can be found when they are rightfully shown. Flowers can hold things we can't even show. Maybe wilted feelings that have been lost to the known, but can be found when they are rightfully shown. Flowers can hold the things we can't even show. Maybe wilted feelings that have been lost to the known, but can be found when they are rightfully shown. Okay. That wasn't too bad, I mean. Could have been worse, right? Anyways. I swear I don't do that all the time. Oh no, actually that's not true. I do that all the time. What I dislike about my brain sometimes is while I'm walking or doing random tasks, it'll like basically send me a poem. I'm like, oh shoot, a poem. And most of the time it's not there for a long period of time. So if I'm not able to write it down in time, then it's kind of just, it disappears. So I usually try to keep my phone on me because I have a text conversation with myself where I just basically send poems to myself. And I'm like, here, remember this. So yeah, it's kind of a mess. Because I can write poems off the top of my head, and it's I wouldn't call it a talent, but it's not exactly something great, yeah. But yeah, stuff happens, I guess. Anyway, the words seemed to fits the silent. I would say silent. The quiet atmosphere around us. Like a protective home that is keeping us safe inside while others can be found on the outside. Okay, so we have this. Yes. That the quiet atmosphere around us, like a protective home that is keeping us safe inside while the others can be found on the outside. Okay. So I don't really know where to go with that sentence. Yeah. Pretty. Pretty things come and go. Wonder where they may lead. They go to and fro, always taking everything. Making us feel alone. One me. Search for something more pretty. Something that has been tainted. The meaning wasted, torn away with something that was originally meant to be nothing. A word shouldn't cause much pain. Such a shame that pretty can cause so much strain on the lives of strangers with only society to blame. Boom. Okay, I didn't mean to do that, but the word pretty came to my mind, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Now you have a poem. Sorry, my nose is being a little weird, but it does that, I guess. I don't know what to say about that, boss man. Anyways, let's see. Like a protective home that is keeping us safe inside while others can be found outside. On the outside. Oh, there's this other one I'm working on that I haven't completely finished, but it's mostly done. I'll read it real quick, and then I think I should probably go to bed before it's later into tomorrow. It's that late. But anyways, I kind of did this to myself, so I don't really know why I'm complaining. This is called The Rooftop Fluff. The title may sound concerning, but it's what am I trying to say? It's referencing something other than what it may sound to reference. Anyway, the rooftop fluff. Stars scatter across the sky. One may wonder why, but those lights always catch eyes. Wondering why? Why is all the light all the way up in the sky? Days like these were all the same. Kokichi would wake up and feel like he was already exhausted. It was one of those days where it feels almost as though you never slept at all. All of your energy is gone before you even get a chance to spend it. Opportunities vanish before they can be taken. Oh, Hatsuha. He cursed under his breath, getting out of his bed. His legs ached and his head was pounding, making his whole body feel like it could fall at any moment. He sighed, noting that his legs and arms were exhausted, just as his mind was. This was going to make his performance on his tasks today less than preferable. Okay, get dressed, go to your college class, and then come back to the apartment and avoid any call you get from your parents. He said out loud, mentally listing what he needs to get done today, making sure that he remembered his father checks in with a call to his apartment every day, making sure that his classes are leading him to the occupation his supposed father wants him to be in. Years have passed, and Kokichi is 18 now, but his biological father is still trying to get him to become a lawyer just as he was. But Kokichi never wanted to be a lawyer. If anything, he would have only taken law classes only to know what laws there were so he could see what loopholes he could exploit. For entertainment purposes, obviously. Knowing his father, he only cared about his son becoming what he wanted him to be. Kokichi was able to move out when he was 18 with one of his childhood friends, Darren. But his father disapproved of that as, well, he honestly didn't give two shits about what his father thought about him. Because when he wanted to take his life in a direction, because he wanted to take his life in the direction he wanted to take in his life. I almost read that completely, incorrectly, and it almost sounded really bad, so I stopped myself. He looked back in his room as he stood in the doorway. A smile crept onto his lips, knowing this place was his own, and there was no one that can tell him that he needs to make his bed, or clean his floors, or that he needs to be a goddamn lawyer. Kokichi, I made you some hot cocoa and muffins! Darren yelled from downstairs. Kokichi laughed to himself before he shouted back, Right, I'm on my way down. He yelled down the stairs before his feet pounded down the stairs like an excited child for their birthday. Oh, this sentence, man, this is painful. Eyes met with the purple mug that Kokichi used every morning. His excitement could have been seen from anywhere downstairs as he rushed over to the counter, and his lips met the holder of the delicious cocoa that was made for him. The sentence is phrased so weird, but it makes sense to me, which is probably also weird, but whatever. You are unbelievable, Darren said, laughing his ass off. Kokichi looked at him, trying to communicate with him while he was still eating the muffins while taking casual sips from his mug. So anyways, there was that poetry slam today, the one my sister wanted to go to that you said you would accompany her to, Darren said, trailing his voice to catch Kokichi's attention. Shit, that's today, isn't it? Kokichi yelled, looking over at the clock. Shit, he yelled even more, leaving his half-eaten muffin on the plate, rushing over to the stairs. This was before Darren grabbed his arm. It's later in the day, dumbass. Kokichi scoffed at Darren's comment. That's the problem, dumbass. Later in the day, he yelled, making quotation marks with his fingers before finishing his statement, is when I go to see Suichi. Pointing his finger at Darren, as if he should have known this. I knew that, dummy. God, you have no faith in me. It's at 6 to 7 p.m. You always go to meet up with Suichi at 10 p.m. to 12 a.m., he said in a teasing tone, making Kokichi's fingers ball into fists. Fine. I'll go with your sister at 6 to 7. But if you are here, remember the one fucking rule, Kokichi said, moving his hand to grab Darren's shirt collar. Darren laughed a little bit because Kokichi did hit his growth spurt, and he's now 5'8", but he was still shorter than Darren. In high school, Kokichi was 5'1", and he always hated how short he was. And Darren was almost a foot taller than him, but now Kokichi was still shorter. Don't pick up the phone if your father calls, Darren said more seriously. I know, Kokichi. Really, don't worry about it. He let his hands rest on Kokichi's shoulders. Don't be so tense. Nothing bad is going to happen anyway. Okay? He looked Kokichi in his eyes, making Kokichi look away before biting his finger. Okay, but for now I'm going to make sure to go to my one class before coming back to get your sister, okay? Kokichi said, moving over to the door, making sure to grab his jacket and checkered backpack. Okay, you got this. Remember, make sure you study for that test you have coming up, Darren said before Kokichi left, making sure to flip off Darren before he left. He acts like such a mother sometimes. Kokichi laughed to himself, walking down the hallway to the elevator. When he made it outside, he walked over to his car. His small car was a little older, but it ran well, and gave off this feeling of home, something that Kokichi didn't understand until recently, until Suichi. The car was a little chilly because it was earlier in the morning. Kokichi shakily turned on the car before quickly turning on the heater. It warmed up the car slowly, making Kokichi's shaking hands warm. Oh, Atsua, he left his jacket in here. Kokichi laughed to himself as he reached over to touch the dark checkered jacket Suichi always wore when it was getting cold. Kokichi wondered if Suichi had another jacket that he must have worn because he left the one he always wears in Kokichi's car. That boy. he said, smiling to himself as he headed off to class. Anyways, that is what I have written so far. So, I don't know where I'm going to take this, but apparently, Kokichi and Suichi are meeting up. Scandalous. I'm just kidding. I don't think I implied for it to be bad. I can look over the notes I left for myself, but it'll be interesting where it ends up. Anyways, we got some writing done. I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry, I keep hitting my mic. That's what I meant to say. My mic. But yes, that's about it. So, yes, that was the beautiful stream today. I should mention that I do have another video coming out soon, but it has been taking a lot longer to get the voice acting done. I do have my siblings helping me with that. They're all doing multiple voices, and it's very, very funny to do recording with them, which I think I might post like a bloopers reel that I may draw like a comic to or something. But then again, that stuff takes time, and time isn't always something I have, which is okay. Anyways, have a great night, and